Okay, Bob. Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me what's going on in the garden.
All right, there's two things going on at the moment. Against the north wall, this is where we're going to put the greenhouse. So it's going to be a lean-to greenhouse. It's going to be 40 metres long, 4.2 metres wide. It's going to be built in a traditional style. It's going to have a dwarf wall at the front, and the bricks from the dwarf wall, we've done a lot of time to find a brick that matches those bricks, so it'll all look in sync. And then the frame of the greenhouse is wooden. Because this is a listed building, what we had to do was put in a greenhouse which is consistent with the heritage of the place. So we've gone to a company called Woodpecker Joinery, and what they do is they're the biggest suppliers of large wooden greenhouses in the UK. In fact, they supplied the king. So that was quite a good recommendation. If it's good enough for the king, it's good enough for the King of Sweden as well. So you see, this has all been levelled out. It's got levelled out back end of last week. And what we're doing is, this is just so that we can then get ready to put the foundations in. We'll put the foundations in the new year. Once the foundations are in, we can then build the brick wall. And then we're targeting the first week in March for the construction of the greenhouse, which will be a momentous. Right, well, once we've seen the greenhouse going up, and if we look to the bottom there, you can see we've already put 3 beds in. So this is part of the overall Georgian style design we're putting in.
And why did you choose the Georgian style?
Well, when we first went to Northumberland County Council and said we weren't going to recreate a historic walled garden, what they said was, well, can you do it in a Georgian style? Georgian style, because this place was built in 1779. Can you make it look like a Georgian Walled Garden would have been back then? Which is why, you know, the wooden greenhouse and things like that.
Yeah.
So we did lots of research, myself and Anne did lots of research. We visited walled gardens. Yeah. We bought several books on walled gardens. And we then went to Northumberland Archives and found a plan for this walled garden 15 years after it had been built. And I can summarise, as I've said before on various episodes, Georgian walled gardens you can summarise in one sentence: squares, rectangles, straight lines. And that's what we've done.
Amazing.
So we've put them in here. We're using a deep compost mulch system. So we're putting about 6 to 8 inches of compost on top of the beds. One of the next jobs we're going to do is we'll put the paths in. We'll put weed suppression fabric down, and then we're going to put wood chip on top of it. So all the paths will be wood chip. So we're starting to see the garden turn into what we want, how we want it to look eventually. Yeah. We're not doing the top half of the garden until the greenhouse is in. Yeah. Because we'll be using that door there to bring the frame of the greenhouse and various other things. So we'll be up and down. So what we don't want to do is cause ourselves problems by putting the beds in too early.
When you saw this site, what was the first thought to yourself?
Alice, it brought a smile on my face straight away. Not many gardeners get the chance to work in a walled garden, particularly one that's over 200 years old. And we have a great advantage in it was a bit of a blank canvas, you know, some grass. The guys had looked at it really well, but it was just basically all grass. So it gave us the opportunity to put the design in that we wanted. Yeah. And when we were doing the design, the thing we're thinking about all the time is, what does Alex the chef want?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the design, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You're a very lucky man.
Yeah.
I think like what you, obviously like the garden is, but the main focus is to grow the best quality vegetables we can and the best during the whole year.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good point actually, Alex, because that whole year thing. So our thoughts all the time are, what can we do to make sure that we've got produce for you 12 months of the year? Yeah. Northumberland's not like the Garden of England down in Kent. It is colder, it is a bit windier, it is a bit wetter, but there's no reason why we can't grow things 12 months of the year. So all the time we're thinking, what can we do to make sure we've got the best produce for the best restaurant that's run by the best chef there is.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we start planning out the sowing and the seeding and the planting and things like that, we'll be thinking all the time, what can we do to make sure that we've got produce 12 months of the year?
Yeah. That's incredible. I mean, I remember I was always saying to you, Bob, 5 years I think it's been now together.
Yeah.
You would never think we would be in this kind of situation together with me.
I mean, it's probably worth telling the viewers how we met.
Yeah.
So we had just, so I was probably getting on for 6 years. So we had been doing our market garden for about 2 years, and I got an email. From this guy called Alex with an unpronounceable surname, and he basically says, look, we've just about opened this restaurant in Northumberland. It's in Wall, Northumberland, not far from yourself. We've heard that you grow vegetables. Could you supply us? Now, I'll tell the viewers my view of the story, and then I'll flip it across and Alex can say his view of the story. So basically what happened was, I got this email in. I remember saying to Anne, my wife, I said, oh, somebody wants us to supply a restaurant. And at that time, we're just 2 years into it. Been in technology for 37 years, we'd made the change. And we were still trying to learn how we operate, how we grow things and all that sort of thing. And whilst it was great that we had some interest from a restaurant, we didn't feel confident at all that we could supply a restaurant. I felt it was just too early in our growing cycle. Growing cycle is market gardeners. So I wrote a very, very polite, nice email back saying, thanks very much for your interest. I don't think we're ready to supply a restaurant at the moment. Good luck with your new venture. I'm sure you'll be successful. That's my version of the story. Alex, what's your version of the story?
I'm telling you the real version of the story. I'm emailing Bob thinking, oh, this is going to be great. Looking for vegetables. Obviously, being up in Northumberland, it's quite hard to find someone to grow, and I don't think we ever found anyone. But then I found Bob, and I get this email that says, and that's it. And I thought to myself, okay, that's the conversation ender, the killer of the conversation.
Now, I would never ever do that to anybody. However, through various families and friends and things like that, we heard about this guy opening this restaurant, and we started to hear about how good this restaurant was, and it got a Michelin star within the first 10 months. And we were thinking, we've probably missed an opportunity here. So one day I decided to walk in with a basket full of really, really nice vegetables. And I walked in, Alex was working, doing the preparation for that night's sitting. And he looked at me and he went, you're the guy who told me to F off, aren't you? And I went, well, anyway, I supplied the vegetables. And the good news was that Alex liked what we did. He liked the freshness, he liked the variety, he liked the quality of the vegetables. So what we did was, he already had a vegetable supplier, but he started buying more and more vegetables off us. I started buying more and more vegetables off us, and the relationship was going really, really well. We're very happy with how it was going between us. We're supplying more and more, and then COVID hit. So what COVID did was, it closed lots of things down, including the restaurants.
Yeah.
So COVID had a massive impact on the restaurant. But during that period of lockdown, we decided to keep in touch with each other. So Alex would be coming across to the farm every week, every other week, saying, Bob, what do you got at the moment? I'm going to make the best use of my time during lockdown. I'm going to work on dishes. I'm going to try things. So basically, during lockdown, the relationship actually built up really, really strong. You come across, he would select what he wanted to grow, and that sort of selection on a sort of weekly basis is actually one of the things we're going to do and try and recreate here. Well, not try, we will recreate here. And then we knew lockdown was come to an end, and the restaurant was going to be open soon. And Alex says, look, he says, I'd really like to get more vegetables from yourselves. Do you think you'll be able to supply more and more vegetables, more than you did previously before lockdown? I said, yeah, I think we can actually. And he said, good, I've sacked the previous vegetable supply. So no, I says, oh, crikey me, that's a bit of pressure. I says, what happens if we only have something for a few weeks? What happens if we have lots of one things, less of other things? And what he says, and this really resonated with myself, he says, Bob, we'll change the menu to what you've got available. And that's how it's worked over the last 5 or 6 years.
I mean, it's the best way of doing it. You know, I was speaking to Bob I always say I speak to Bob more than I speak to my wife, which is scary.
Yeah, we're in constant dialogue.
It's a constant, and I think to be able to do this project together now is something we both kind of dreamt of or dreaming of. But now we're in it, and you can see the place taking shape, and he's come speaking to Bob still every day about what we're doing and how we're doing it and what's going on, and seeing the progress for the greenhouses and the actual hotel and the foundations for the restaurants and the gardens, and just all really exciting.